Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I'm going to be replacing the intake manifold, the plastic intake manifold that comes standard with the LS engine, the LS3 engine in my Blazer here. I will be replacing it with a kit from Lokar, which is basically a cast aluminum intake manifold to look old school. I mean, I don't like the look of this current LS. And what basically it does is takes this throttle body, which is currently here, and then flips it upside down to go on top of that cast aluminum intake manifold. The fuel rails will have to be replaced, and it's a complicated operation here. I'm calling it an operation because, again, I've never done this before, but it's involving replacing the fuel lines and some electrical, a lot of vacuum, and other items that go along with this operation. But the whole kit is pretty thorough from Lokar. You get all the adapters that you need to and gaskets to install this. So follow me along on this journey as I delve into the unknown here. I guess I'm going to start with replacing, or actually removing, the old fuel lines that I have. The regulator is right over here, and I'm going to take the fuel line off of here. The fuel line off of this one that goes into the rail. And then I'm going to take the electrical connections off of the injectors, take the bolts out of the individual bolts out of the fuel rail that hold them down to the intake, and then we'll stop and look over what we've done here. Okay, I guess we'll start with the fuel lines. Take this one off the regulator first. I grab the right size wrench. That one. Okay. Sorry about all this fumbling around. It's been a while since I've done this. All right. I just put a rag under it just in case it leaks some fuel. And it did. This one is 18. No, this one is 11/16. I think the next thing we'll take off here is the injector wires, which you're going to lift up on this little gray connector tab here. There we go. And then push in and then lift. All right. Only I got 7 more to do here. That's number 3 there. Let's see if I can get this one off without getting in your way. Let's try this one. Okay. Now we'll go over to the other side a little bit. All right, move over to this side here. Again, taking those gray caps off. And then taking this off. Okay, all the connectors have been off, so the electrical connection to the fuel injectors is off. Now on to taking off the connectors, actually the bolts that hold the fuel rail down. Okay, get rid of these bolts. Alrighty, the bolts are out, so in theory the fuel rail should lift off the intake. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, that's one side. Let's see if I can get the other side just as easily. All right. Now remember okay, there's the fuel rail coming out. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the cold air intake. Let's take the filter off first. All right, let's see if I can get this intake out of here. All right, let's take this off next, which is just the drive-by wire from the throttle. And we can take the throttle body off. There's just 4 bolts holding this throttle body on, 10 millimeter. All right, we can speed this ahead. And out comes the throttle body. Next on the agenda is to pull out these bolts for the intake. They are 8mm. All right, now that the bolts are out, there is nothing holding the intake down that I could see. Let's see here. Let's give it a tug again. Oh, vacuum line's in the back. After I got the vacuum line off, I took the insulated plastic cover off the top here, and I think this is ready to lift off. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Wow. It's amazing how much oil is inside this intake manifold. I need a catch can. You can see some of it right here. Look at all the oil. Intakes are filled with it. Yep. All right, that'll be remedied in the future. Before I finish this project, I got to put a catch can on. Here's a view, close-up view of what the engine looks like with the intake manifold missing. Ls3 rectangle port. In the back is the oil pressure sensor, and of course this one here is for the DOD, which I have not eliminated yet. So that's also a future project, and I'll have to take all of this crap back off again. But we didn't get to that yet, so let's carry on. At this point, I will also take the time to clean each cylinder really good, because that's the mating surface for the new intake, and clean this whole valley tray really good, because I'm probably going to paint it orange to match the rest of the block, and I don't want any surface to be dirty going in. And I looked down inside this number 2 cylinder here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a lot of oil down there. I mean, it's just resting on top of that intake valve. So eventually it'll get all blown out and probably deposited on the spark plug, but I gotta remedy that catch can situation. But again, that'll be a future project. Alrighty, let's continue with the cleanup. After I cleaned it some, I wire brushed the areas that I can get to. I also taped up the ports so that no debris or rogue nuts and bolts will fall down inside. That's what it looks like before I paint it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try the intake manifold on there. See if it fits, because I'm not 100% sure that it's going to fit with the with that valley pin. So let me get that. I can actually lift it with one hand, actually. Wow. Wow. That's it, baby. Holy cow. It actually fits very well. All right. I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. Does it look like an old 350? I'm not exactly sure of that either. So let's get the throttle body and give that a little test fit. I'm gonna reach over here. Now there's an adapter plate that goes on top of this, but it's actually gonna go like that. Alrighty. And then the air cleaner goes on top of it. Boy, that's gonna be close, brother. Hood clearance. Man, oh man. All right, we're going down the right path. We'll deal with the hood clearance problem later, and the catch can oil situation. All right, I guess the next thing was to clean it more, run some grease remover on all of those parts down there, and give it a coat of orange paint. Alrighty. I've positioned you inside the engine compartment so that you can test fit the air cleaner clearance to the hood underneath. I'm not too hopeful that this is going to fit because this is really high. So let's go. I'll lower the hood slowly. You're going to let me know. You're going to let me know. I'll have to look at the footage afterwards to see if it does bump or I feel it's touched down somewhere. Yep, it's touching. Okay, but where is it touching? And can I raise this? Nope. Well, let me get you off the magnet here. Yes, it's sitting right at the top here, and that's the spot that it's touching. Right there. So I got a problem. I can certainly put the system in without it, without the air cleaner, but this is a 2-inch cowl hood. I can cut this support out of the underneath if I wanted to remedy this clearance problem. I don't like it. I did some trial fitting of the intake and the air cleaner assembly, as you've seen before, and it was rubbing up against the hood. So it seems that I got to take at least 3/8 of an inch to a half an inch out of this hood, and I drew some lines on there of the area that's gotta come out of there. So I'm not too happy about this because I'm cutting into freshly painted work. And I'm not 100% sure if this will, you know, I'll be able to touch it up and then it'll be, you know, match it all. So, yeah. But in the meantime, before I even get to that, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to paint the orange paint that's missing from the valley pan here and along the sides a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit that with the old orange paint and touch all of that stuff up so that it looks nice. And I'll get back to you with this cutout. Hopefully it'll be good news when I do get back to you. All right. Well, I painted the valley tray, or pan, whatever you want to call it. Painted it Chevy orange, and that's what the finished product looks like. And I think that'll be enough for today while I figure out what I'm going to do about this hood. How I'm going to cut it, am I going to cut it with a saw, am I going to cut it with a grinding disc. I got to cut that little semicircle out of there, and that's going to make a mess. It's going to make sparks possibly, I don't know, but we'll think about it overnight and we'll come back to you. Okay, back at the Blazer project. I did a little thinking last night about this hood clearance issue, and I went so far as to stick some foam tape on the air cleaner and made an impression on the hood as to where I got a cut. And I'm thinking that the only way that I'm going to cut this right is to remove the hood. Now, I can take it off myself. I mean, I am a one-man band here, and I work by myself on most of these projects. So, yes, I can remove it, but I can't put it back on. There's just no way that I can physically hold it in place and start them bolts on the side of the hood. So, I thought about it a little bit more, and then while I was thinking about, you know, how I'm going to cut this and what I'm going to cut it with, and transporting it to my backyard so I can put it on a couple of sawhorses, with padded sawhorses, so that I can you know, trim this out properly. But then a light bulb went on. I remembered that this air cleaner assembly can go on 180 out from the stock position, and that's going to solve my problem 100% here, because that moves the air cleaner assembly 3 inches to the rear, which makes it very tight in the back. I have it in its final position here, but as you can see, it's very tight in the back here, and I don't think I got maybe 3/8 of an inch clearance there. But this motor doesn't shake a whole lot, so I don't see a problem with that. But that will eliminate a couple of things by moving that to the rear. It'll eliminate taking off this hood and grinding all of that stuff and dealing with this hood, you know, clearance issue, because it clears. I shot a video and I closed the hood, and I got plenty of clearance from the edge of this air cleaner to the underneath of this hood. It makes it so, but it opens up the front of the engine, in my eye, way too much. I mean, it's just giant. It's a giant open empty space here. I kind of wanted the air cleaner a little bit more forward to kind of take up some of the room, so to say. But I'm I'm not going to deal with cutting the hood and all of that. I can do it at a later date if I get some help. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can flip that thing around. It has no, I have no problem, you know, with flipping that thing around and dealing with it that way. So that's what I'm going to wind up doing here. And I'm going to continue on with the project. I'm up to the rewiring of this whole engine compartment here. As many of you know, the LS wiring harness is quite a mess. I had it all in place, but I want to hide all of this wiring. I don't want to see any of this wiring, which is my whole plan of the I'm trying to get the right word for here. To try to disguise this thing to be not an LS. I don't want it to look LS. I want it to be an LS, but I don't want it to look LS. So hiring all this wiring is what I'm going to do. So that's a big job. And I don't want to bore you with any of that stuff because it's cutting and lengthening and shortening wires and all of this stuff. And it opens up a whole bird's nest of future problems if I don't do all this wiring correctly. But I did it in the past, so it should be okay. But that's what it looks like here. So yeah, I'll leave you with that, and I'll come back when I got some new news. Well, after 3 days of continuous wiring, lengthening and shortening and rearranging all of the wiring here on the engine, this is what I'm left with, the pile of wires here. But though some of that is left over from the Camaro when I did it. And I kind of consolidated all the wiring to run down the center of this new intake that I am installing. Stuff that had to go to the passenger side. I rerouted all of that down there instead originally it went down the back, and this way I came down the center and went over to this side here. So that was taken care of, and then same thing for this side here. Anything that was on the driver's side of the engine, I needed to rearrange and rewire. So I have test fit the intake in there. It fits good. Of course, you know, we're going back to my clearance problem here, which I'm still I'm still kicking around. I know I told you previously that I'm not going to cut the hood. That thought has not left my brain. So when I get to it, I'll get to it. So at this point, I'm going to leave it. So what I'm doing today is the test fit the intake. Of course, I installed the new fuel rail and the old injectors in the new fuel rail, and I am going over here to the workbench. Let me turn the light on so you can see what I'm doing here. These are my original injectors, which I have removed from the old fuel rail. And I gotta say, they were pretty hard to get out of the original fuel rail. I was surprised that their sticking power to that original fuel rail, but of course that's original, and they were difficult to come out. So I put the new ones, the old ones on the side here, and I'm going to install them in the new fuel rail. These are the original O-rings. These 4 black ones come with the kit. The 2 installed with the new ones. These are the old clips. Don't need those anymore because they held that to the original fuel rail. So that's what I'm about to do, and once I get that in, I'll pop that on the other side of the on the passenger side and do a little test fit over there. I know I decided not to cut the hood, and then I went back on and thought about it a little bit, and then I said, well, maybe I'm going to well, guess what, I'm gonna cut the hood. I don't like the position of the air cleaner located further back on the intake. So in order to get my 1/2 inch of clearance, I gotta cut the hood. And that's about it. So let me get you set up on the stand here, and we'll get the cut. Here's my weapon of choice right down here. I'm gonna go with the jigsaw rather than the grinding wheel, because it'll make a lot of sparks and throw all hot metal in every direction, maybe do some damage to this other existing paint here. Alright. Alright, wish me luck. Alright, we got the main piece cut out here. Very good. My cut worked out good. The jigsaw worked out good after I bent the blade and broke one. So we're going to be filing the edges and then painting it and then sealing it that way. But we'll see if it clears, because I'm going to do that right now once I take all this tape off with the metal shavings. Ow. Okay guys, you'll be the first to see. Here we go. I'm going to drop the hood. Let me know what you see. How we doing? Good? Getting near the bottom. 3 more inches to go. And we're down. I got clearance. I got clearance, Clarence. Alright. Let me look at the footage and see what we got. Alright, check it out. The hood has been cut clean here, and the only thing I can't change is the fact that the blue spray paint does not make it, or did not make it, under most of the bracing. And since I eliminated the bracing, it's kind of like a weird color blue under there. But I touched up the edges with the touch-up paint that I had available, and it's certainly big enough to fit that giant air cleaner in there. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Moving on. Well, it finally comes a day where I'm going to install the intake manifold, the new Holley intake manifold, which actually came through Lokar, of all places. The day is coming, I'm going to install it. So what I'm going to do is carefully remove the tape that is covering the holes into the head, and then I'm going to install the intake manifold. I have previously installed the O-rings in the intake around the openings here, and I applied a little thin layer of grease to that so they go into position properly. The next time you see this thing, it will be getting ready for install, and I'm going to put the bolts in and torque it down. So let me put you on a stand, and then you will get to see this thing installed, but not after, you know, a few days of wiring and running fuel lines and
You will see in the back there that there's a distributor. Actually, it's not a real distributor, it's a fake distributor. I made that. So the spark plug wires have been run, and actually in the previous video I installed the coil packs over here, and then the wires run underneath the brake booster around the back through the fake distributor and back out into the individual spark plugs. But that's what I did with that. Same thing for the other side, no different. There's also a fake coil back there too. Yeah, we're ready for the illusion. The hood came out good. I got some tape holding up where I had to glue the, I put the door edge guard, I guess the little plastic trim that you put on the door edge. I put that on the edges of all the cut steel, even though I painted it and it's not, I filed it, it's not sharp, but it's still a rough edge. So I put that door edge guard on there, and it looks, you know, pretty good. So I went along with that, and that's it. Let me put you on a stand, and you'll be ready to go. All right, here's the intake manifold, coming in hot. Looking good, folks. Looking good. I still got access to my injector wires. Okay. So let's put some bolts in there. Now, there's two tall ones on each side. One here and one here. I don't want to block your view, so. And then the short ones. So there's 5 on each side. 2 tall ones and, oh boy. Yeah. The back one's going to be difficult to get to. Yeah. Now the tightening sequence for these intake bolts are from the inside and to the other side, like that, okay? And then the outside, and then back, pull it the other side. First pass is 50 pounds, 50 pounds, 50 inch-pounds. And then second pass is 106, at least that's what the instructions call for. I'm just going to snug them down. All right. I got the old El Bendy here, as another YouTuber calls it. But it's not a bender, it's a clicker. So this goes to 50 inch-pounds first, and we'll start right here. Uh-oh. Oh, no. The bolt broke off in the head. Oh. Disaster has struck. Well, after that last disaster scene, this is the bolt that broke. As you can see, I was able to get the piece out. It was not an easy task, and without damaging the threads.
This is the offending hole right here. Right where the black mark is. And yeah, wasn't good. I had to retape the openings into the heads so that no debris would go down in there, vacuuming out that threaded hole into the head, using an extractor to, well, first drilling it out and then using an extractor to get it out of there. So yes, we're back to installing the head. I won't bore you with putting the bolts back in again. So okay, here I have torqued down the bolts. I did that all off camera. Hooked up the injectors, the wires, which I have run under the intake manifold. I hooked up the throttle wire here, and all the fuel lines, which run along the back there, coming from the original fuel pressure regulator right here. So it comes off of here, goes in the back, tees off a little bit in the back there, and it goes to the other side, right past the fake distributor. Hey, you guys are the only ones that are going to know. And same on the other side. Alright, so the only thing really left to do is to put on the lid, the lower part of the air filter housing, and then I will bolt that down. Next to go on is this air filter housing. I got this fresh air tube for the PCV system to go on. Hopefully it reaches and I didn't cut it too short. Okay, that's on. And this is on. Alrighty. Now I gotta put the bolts in and hold this housing down. And what to do with the math. Alright, so I'm left with this guy here. Normally it would have been inside the intake tube, air intake, but I currently have no place for it to go. So let's put the air filter on, and then the lid. I do have the rod for it, but I'm gonna have to cut this thing because it's way too long. I think it's way too long. Yeah. They'll leave it up to you to cut it to length because they don't really know how big of an air filter you're putting on here. I think I'm going to mark it. I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to install it. So we're going to come up to about here. Well, I just started it. And while I will say it didn't start initially, okay? It took a couple of cranks and then it didn't start. So I disconnected the MAF sensor entirely, and then it would run, but only for a couple of seconds, and then finally it ran, you know, normally. So let me bring you outside here. The exhaust fans just came on. And I had a minor fuel leak right over here. I just had to retighten that fitting, and I almost had a fire. I'm sorry, I'm talking loud now. I got all this stuff running. Yeah, I left a rag on the old headers, and yeah. So crisis was averted with that. I kind of got low fuel pressure. According to that, I got 58. Oh, that's good. And this one says 60. So which one is right? But other than that, it's good. So I think I'm going to take it for a test drive and see what we got, and I'll give you my final evaluation after that. I got to get it tuned. There's no two ways about it. I got to get it tuned. The intake is all different, and yeah. Just got back from a test ride. It performs pretty good, accelerates like normal, and the only thing that I've noticed is it don't idle smoothly. Has a little bit of a, you know, wobble to it. I don't know what that's all about. That might clear up as soon as the computer gets used to the fact that there's no MAF. It really can't sense the speed, so I have to, you know, get it set up in a tune as far as speed density goes. And there's a backfire periodically, not all the time, periodically through the mufflers. I hear it in the exhaust. There's a backfire. It don't happen all the time. It seems to be on deceleration, but I'll have to deal with that. But I think overall this is an excellent setup here. It achieved, you know, what I wanted, and it definitely looks like a, you know, small block or big block. You know, I mean, only to a trained eye I'll be able to tell that this is an LS or not, and an Ls3 no less. So yeah, this is a after photograph. I'll insert the before now. And this is what it looks like after. So I hope you guys are happy with what I've done here, and I encourage you to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Also, I reply to all comments, and email me any questions that you may have. I have my email address in the description below. And if you do subscribe, make sure you click on the notification bell to get any updates on any videos that I would upload. All right. Thank you for joining me in this project, lengthy as it was, and have a good day.